Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video. I'm Eric Go, otherwise known as Oh No It's Eric Go, and today we are going to be talking about my experience of buying a condominium here in the Philippines. There are a bunch of reasons as to why I think it's a great idea to invest here in the Philippines. I won't get too much into that because of course you guys are watching this, you're already interested. Manila has a crazy overpopulation issue, and with overpopulation comes the need for housing. So there are a bunch of new high-rise condominium developments all around the city, and if you are interested in investing here in Manila, it's basically a take-your-pick kind of situation. Be it Bonifacio Global City, otherwise known as BGC, or Makati, or other places as far north as QC and as far south as Alabang. So there's no shortage of choices here in Manila in terms of finding a place to either live in or invest in. Of course, there's a lot of things that you can do with your condominium. Most people buy it as an investment to use themselves. Other people buy it to rent out, and there are a subset of people that buy pre-selling condominiums to flip later on. So any of those reasons might be yours. For me personally, I was just looking for a place to live and also a longer term investment and just to have a little bit of home equity here in the Philippines. So anyway, this video is going to give kind of a 101 crash course on the start to finish process of buying a condominium. Once you've kind of made the decision on where you want to purchase a condominium, then it's up to you to see, what or who you'd like to have as your developer. Now, depending on where you are in the city, you might not have that crazy of a choice, but some of the bigger names in the industry include Ayala Land. They also own Ayala Malls. SMDC also own SM Super Malls. Robinsons also has a bunch of malls. So you kind of get the trend here, right? There's other smaller builders, Empire East, San Juan. Again, it's up to you. That boils down to some of the finer details, be it the way that they're designed, or perhaps the way that the developer runs their condominium or the complex. For example, there is a developer called MegaWide here or Mega World, and they do a great job of combining commercial, so basically shopping malls, with their condominiums. So usually the malls are physically attached or very, very close by to the condominium, so you can kind of get that retail and kind of lifestyle experience at the same time you can have a place to live. SMDC is kind of known around here in the Philippines for their cookie cutter establishments. So they kind of look all the same. So wherever you go in the Philippines, be it to other islands, to other provinces, or outside of Manila, usually if you spot an SMDC development, they look kind of the same. Ayala is a big one. They have different tiers. So within Ayala Land, there is affordable units such as Amaya, mid-tier units such as Alveo, all the way up to Ayala Land Premier, which you would be quite shocked at. It's US money, or rather Western money, for a place here in Manila. So for me, when I was shopping for a condominium here in the Philippines, I was choosing between Ayala Land and Robinsons, mainly because I was looking at a condominium here in Bonifacio Global City, and those two developments were the developments with units still available within a reasonable time frame to completion. When I mention a reasonable time frame to completion, the reason why I'm saying that is because some units are pre-selling and others are what we call here in the Philippines RFO, or ready for occupancy. If you're looking for a quote-unquote good deal, I would not go for an RFO unit because most of those units are being sold by either the developer at a premium price, or they're being sold by individuals who purchased the property years and years ago when it was simply just an idea or some sort of mock-up, and they're looking to flip that property now, again, also at a premium. I was looking at properties that were quote-unquote pre-selling, but I was looking for a time frame that was ASAP. Kind of a sticky situation when you think of it. So I was looking primarily at buildings that were in their final stages of completion, and also buildings that you could actually physically see. So the reason why was because I wasn't very into purchasing quote unquote an idea. So a lot of the condominiums here in the Philippines haven't even broken ground yet. If they have, they've broken ground, but they haven't topped off, none of that. So I was looking for something where I could see kind of an idea of what I was buying into. Of course, when you're buying something, money is always an issue or a concern. Ayala did not have the best of terms when it came to payment and when it came to actually securing the unit. So I was actually looking at a unit down the block from where I live now, and Ayala had quite an interesting structure where I wasn't necessarily bullied or pressured into purchasing a unit. However, it was a lottery system wherein I had to pay money to get lottery tickets, and if I won the lottery, then I would get a chance to sign and drop a reservation fee for that condominium. So kind of complicated, right? So there's kind of this gamble to buy in, and if I won, who knows if it was rigged. If I do win, then I have to kind of sign an agreement to then actually, put money down for that condominium. Once I would put down the reservation fee, the Ayala terms were that within 30 days, I had to either secure financing for the unit or pay for the unit in cash. They expected me to furnish 7 million pesos within 30 days. Now, that's about 140,000 USD, and for me, I wasn't necessarily looking at that type of payment structure. The reason why I didn't want to go for that 30-day rule was because I was fresh to the Philippines at the time, and it was very difficult to get IDs, like government IDs, and what more for, securing financing. If you're not familiar with the Philippines, it's kind of difficult to secure financing if you're a foreigner, don't have credit history, and you have just started working here. So again, cash is king, but if you're not looking to drop that much money on a somewhat risky investment, since you don't really know what you're getting into, I would highly recommend that you find a developer that gives you pretty good financing terms. So to give you guys an idea of how the payment structure worked for the Robinsons unit that I ended up going with, it was 30% down payment, but the down payment can be financed within the span of 5 years. From there, once you've paid off the down payment, and you can pay it off within 5 months or 5 years, it's completely up to you. Then all you need to do is either pay the remaining balance full in cash or show proof of bank financing in order to initiate the turnover and subsequently the move-in process. I ended up seeing this unit that I liked in February of 2018, and actually the process was quite simple. It was just a matter of looking at the demo unit. So actually here within the complex, there were already 2 towers that were complete. The third and final tower was the tower that I ended up securing a unit in. And it was a matter of speaking with an agent that I found through my uncle, who he's worked with before, so it was already a trusted source, and a matter of picking out the style of unit that I wanted. I ended up going with a 1-bedroom unit, and then from there it was a matter of going to the Robinsons office to sign some reservation papers. The reservation fee is a non-refundable fee of 50,000 pesos at the time, which is roughly about $1,000. But the nice thing about it was I was able to put it on my credit card and get some airline miles through Chase Sapphire Reserve. So once I was in the office, it was a matter of just presenting a few IDs and a few work papers, so a certificate of employment proving that I was working here in the Philippines, and I just signed the reservation documents, and that initiated the process for more paperwork. A couple of weeks later, my agent contacted me with more papers to sign, and essentially it was an agreement to sell the property to me. After signing my name about 24 times, we had a bunch of contracts. Some were for Robinsons and a copy of it was for me. Then it was a matter of actually waiting for the unit to be done. As I mentioned before, I purchased a pre-selling unit, which meant that the building itself was still being built. Lucky for me, when I signed on the unit in early 2018, their completion date of early 2019 wasn't so far-fetched. The reason why I mention this is because, of course, here in the Philippines and anywhere in the world, there's always going to be construction delays. So if you find a unit that's pre-selling but has a completion date that's pretty close to the future, I would highly recommend that you just go for that type of unit. Some of the other units here in BGC were pre-selling and didn't have a completion date until 2024. If you're interested in a longer term investment, that's fine. However, if I were to have signed on a unit in 2018 that wouldn't be complete till 2024, that's thousands and thousands of pesos of down payment fees and just monthly amortization that I would have to be paying, and I wouldn't even get to see, feel, touch my property until right now it's 2020, that would be 4 years from now. I kind of lucked out, got one of the last units in this building in terms of pre-selling with a completion date that was pretty close to the future. Fast forward about a year into mid-2019, and I would walk past the building all the time just to see the progress. Once we got closer to their first estimated completion date, that's when I decided to look into bank financing. So for me, it was just a matter of going to my preferred bank of choice. In this case, it was BPI. So long story short, I just had to email a couple ways, once to BPI and once to Robinsons. They were the ones that actually coordinated between themselves to assess the value of this condominium and to get those papers going. Once they had all of the paperwork ready to go, I was called into the BPI branch, which I frequently visited, signed my name about 107 times on multiple deeds and multiple documents, and from there the loan was processed and of course approved not too long into the future. So that entire loan process actually took about 2 months, and it only took about 2 months because I wasn't really rushing. Once we had Robinsons and BPI agree on all of the finer details of the loan, it was a matter of following up with the Robinsons office in order to initiate the turnover process. So it's a question of who gets to pay first. Again, like I said earlier in the video, money talks. So if you've already paid for your unit, full cash, or you have bank financing, you're first in line to get your unit turned over. So once you're in line, the developer, in this case Robinsons, would then kind of work on your unit, fix it up, and kind of get all the finishing details ready, and then they'll invite you over for a walkthrough. So a walkthrough is kind of like a pre-inspection, just to kind of see what the unit's looking like, if there's any issues, and then kind of discuss how the unit is going to be once it's turned over to you. Late last year in about October, we did a walkthrough of the unit, and at that point in time, Robinsons kind of showed us, here's what you're getting, here's what the unit's going to look like. There's a couple of finishing touches that are still not done, so this is not how it's going to look when you actually get the keys. And then they explained, kind of the finer details of moving in, what's included, what do the light fixtures look like, what does the plumbing look like, what is the situation in terms of getting air conditioners installed, and of course what appliances came with the unit and what appliances didn't. Once the walkthrough was complete and I was okay with everything, it was a matter of 2 weeks of kind of finishing up the unit and fixing it up. When I did the walkthrough, it was already painted. It was just a question of kind of doing that final cleanup. And then within 2 weeks, I was already queued to come to the actual building on a Saturday to do the turnover. So, they do this whole turnover process where, they open up the door and there's this big plaque that says, "Welcome to your new home." And then you get your keys, obviously all the sets of keys. And then from there, they do a facilities tour. So they tour us with all the swimming pools and the gyms, how to, use the elevator, here's the mail room, what keys to use for the mail room, and how to get packages from the concierge. All of that stuff is done on turnover. But the most important thing on turnover is actually getting your keys to move in. So that was the entire process of picking out the unit from, shopping around to actually getting it turned over. Once the unit's turned over, it's completely up to you what you want to do with it. You can take a look at it, lock the door, and not move in. Or if you're like me, you got to work the next day. So within 24 hours, I had already had the appliances delivered and started to kind of fix things up to my liking in the unit. So another reason why I actually chose this unit was because of how it was advertised as being finished when I moved in. So some condominiums and some developers here in the Philippines don't actually quote unquote finish your unit very well. So some units don't come with a stove, they don't come with a range hood, some come with air conditioners, some don't, and a few of them don't come with finished bathrooms. So I chose this Robinsons unit because I like the way that they were designing the bathroom. There was already a glass divider for the shower, and the shower is already built in with floor-to-ceiling tiles. Another nice thing that Robinsons did was they installed water heaters already. So there was one in the kitchen for the kitchen sink, and there was also a water heater for the bathroom sink and also for the shower. At the time of signing my paperwork, they actually said that the unit would come with air conditioners and a fridge as well as a washing machine. However, due to the kind of crunch timeline from the time that I secured financing and wanted to get the unit turned over, Robinsons actually offered me 100,000 pesos or 2K USD worth of either a cash voucher that would be taken off of my remaining balance, or 100,000 peso gift certificate that I could use at their Robinsons appliance store to purchase the appliances that didn't end up coming with the unit. So the ones that didn't end up coming with the unit were the fridge, the air conditioners, and the washing machine. That wasn't an issue for me because I actually didn't like the types of appliances that they installed into the unit. So it was kind of cool that I had 100,000 pesos to play with. I could choose my own brand air conditioners and choose my own washing machine, and I ended up actually spending the entire 100,000 peso amount on all of the appliances that I needed to purchase. So I know that that was a lot of information to take into one video, but as I mentioned, it was kind of a crash course on the start to finish process of getting a condominium here in the Philippines. Again, just to summarize, it's a matter of choosing where you want that condominium, shopping around, picking your developer, and then from there, it's a question of whose payment terms do you like the most, and if payment terms aren't an issue for you, then money talks in any part of the process. Again, if there was something that I didn't cover in this video, please feel free to drop a comment down below and I will get to it as soon as possible. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. And if you like videos like this and want to see more, consider subscribing. Don't forget to check out my blog, gowitherico.com, to see some of my other adventures that I've had here as a native New Yorker in Manila. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care and see you in the next one.